Welcome to the Political Matrix News. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the political matrix. I love how we do this. It's ad hoc, ad lib, and ad nauseum. Sometimes Rob Milford, Scott Miller, Greg Fink, the Political Matrix News. We're doing this on Tuesday the 6th, a double dose of history, 79 years old. We bombed Hiroshima to pretty much bring on the end or the beginning of the end of World War II. And then today, Kamala Harris's campaign dropped a bombshell, found the most liberal governor they could in America, who happens to be absolutely a middle-aged white guy who looks like everybody's favorite uncle. But he might be more left-wing than Kamala Harris. We're talking about Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, has had that job for 6 years. I was curious I'm not mistaken. I know for a certain fact that Kamala Harris was named by President Biden as the border czar in March of 2021. He'd been in office 60 days or so, and he starts handing out titles. He put her in charge of some border solutions. And I don't know that anyone, and immediately 2.5 weeks ago, when she emerges, no, that never really happened, except we have all the written records. One magazine, of course, tried changing, the original writer went back to change what is online, what she wrote 3 years ago. How dare they? How dare you? Wonder why we don't trust journalists, So the border is arena.
I was saying earlier, I have decided personally for myself that I am willing to believe that she was never the border czar, because I don't think they ever created the office. Creating an office of the border czar is an actual, when they create these czars, there's an office. There's an office where they come, they have a staff, they have funding, and they go and have an agenda, and they do all of these things. And none of that ever happened with Kamala. It was all a public relations stunt to begin with. Another example of them just lying to your face and trying to convince you they're doing something when all they're really trying to do is just pacify their critics. I don't believe that Kamala was border czar. I don't think, and even if she had been named border czar, I don't think she would have accepted the job. She'd have just rode around on Air Force Two, just dolling up her hair and trying to embarrass people with nasty rhetoric, which is actually her specialty.
But she never even went to the border.
It took 2 years for her to go to the border. She didn't go to the hard-working border where agents are getting thousands of people a day. No. They took her to El Paso, Texas, to the main bridge that crosses over into Mexico. I've been on that bridge a half a dozen times.
Very safe there.
But I will tell you that there was nobody sneaking over the border that day. No. Nobody. They made a deal with the Mexicans. They were moving, hey, you guys go 5 miles that way, you go 5 miles that way. Right. It'll be bueno. But not here.
And before she got there, they made the border agents clean up all the trash. Go around and not apprehend everyone. All they were apprehending that day was trash that might be in her camera shot.
Exactly.
Correct.
I mean, basically, it's another example of the entire Biden administration being nothing but a big PR stunt. That's it. I mean, everything from Pete Buttigieg and his running of the transportation department. God bless him.
What? What? He doesn't show up to one of the worst train derailments in U.S. history. He doesn't show up to maternity leave collapses of interstate highways, and barely showed up when a ship took out a major bridge and closed about the number 6 port in the entire United States.
And
took 3 or 4 days. It's from D.C. It's Baltimore. You drive over there. Let's go. Come on, let's get in the car and go.
His kids were in a school play.
Exactly. Well, actually, they're being born, and so that's how they're being born. So he had to go for maternity leave for the adoption and so on.
Well, he had to go deliver the baby.
No, men can't have babies yet. Anyway,
no, don't you say that? That is misogynistic and transphobic.
It could be transphobic, but I am pretty damn sure that men cannot have babies at this exact moment in Indiana.
Yeah. Do you have a PhD?
Or not yet?
Because in order to know if they can have babies, or if they're even women, you have to have a PhD.
No, they cannot have babies. But the point is that all these things happen whenever he's on vacation or taking these, not on vacation rather, but on maternity leave and so on and so forth. But I mean, the whole idea that the Biden administration is nothing but a PR stunt. Everything from him running transportation to all the other cabinet people just running every single thing on the ground. I mean, the economy's ran. We have no idea what's going on with the economy. We got inflation. We got recession. We got high unemployment, low unemployment, high jobs, low jobs, high wages, low wages. I mean, we have no idea what's that coming out of the truth. They're saying what we do know is that we're all suffering and we're all getting kicked in the ass at the grocery stores on Main Street. And finally, Wall Street's catching up to Main Street and realizing that Main Street is hurting a hell of a lot more than you guys realize. And now some of the roosters are coming home to roost. I also think that right now everybody's borrowing so much money. I mean, I think there's no money left to pay the debt. I mean, we're strapped.
Well, what I noticed this morning as the as NPR was apologizing for the economy and talking about all the all the reasons why it was going on, and their biggest culprit was the increased labor participation rate is just making it look like unemployment is rising when the reality is that the increased unemployment rate or labor participation rate is due to all the people that are pouring across the border looking for jobs. They are participating in the search for jobs. Well, of course there's an increased thing because they've imported 8 million people into the economy.
I mean, people want to work more than 40 hours a week or at least 20 hours a week. I mean, people need to be able to have an income that can actually justify anything. I live here in Gainesville. The average rent for Gainesville, Florida, which is a college town, university town, the average income here is $32,000 a year. The average rent is right around $2,000 a month. Now, if you're supposed to make 3 times the rent, which is $75,000 a year, or right around that, how does $36,000 a year turn into $75,000 a year? I mean, the reality is that we are strapped. People, I mean, has been borrowed to the hilt. Credit card, payments are the highest it's ever been. Everything is way too high, and this wonderful PR-driven administration has done nothing but giving us talking points the entire 4 fucking years, and not one goddamn policy to do anything right to help a single American out there. Nothing. Oh,
you are correct.
But we did almost get the other president shot.
All right, I looked it up. Joe Biden said that Kamala Harris, he did not use the word czar, but that's what the media took it to mean, that she would tackle the border problem. That was March 24th of 2021.
Good job.
Take it to the freaking bank. Next subject. She was in charge, and by the way, he provided $450 million in funding for her to exercise these things. He included Health and Human Services, Homeland Security. We're all going to be part of it. And he said, when she speaks for me. And that's when Biden knew who he was. This piece, next segment, could become kind of dated because we are, in many ways, and I hate to be Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Maybe Glenn Beck, oh, this is the worst thing ever. But the fact of the matter is, things in the Middle East are pretty bad. We're not paying attention to it. That's all it comes down to. Because of Israel's protracted payback, getting Gaza, getting all of Hamas and Hezbollah,
right?
All of the rest of the surrogates of Iran throughout the entire Middle East are setting the stage, setting the plate, if you will, setting the table. That would be the word I would look for.
Exactly.
Setting the table to, at a time and place of their choosing, to kick the crap out of Israel. We have no idea how many missiles have been shipped to places like Lebanon, how many missiles have been shipped to Syria, how many missiles have been shipped into Gaza. Wait a minute. I thought they were getting humanitarian aid. No, they're getting hardware, serious hardware, so they can fire back. Then, how many missiles have been shipped to the Houthis who are in Yemen? And you got to look at a map on this when I tell you that Yemen kind of controls the Red Sea, which is pretty much the crossroads of world shipping. Everybody got to go through the Suez Canal. They go right down the Red Sea. And the Houthis have the bottom right corner as you look at the peninsula where you'd find Saudi Arabia. They have a wide tactical radius of several hundred miles. They can launch drones. They can launch intermediate range ballistic missiles. They can launch ground to surface or surface to sea missiles, which are controllable. And let me tell you, get ready for this. You don't know this. They haven't announced it yet. A Marine F-35 aviator assigned to one of the smaller carriers has become an ace, I think, with 7 or 8 kills. They haven't talked about it, but she is an F-35 pilot at Cherry Point, North Carolina. I'm working on getting the name, but that is a very, very hot, it becomes the first ace since Vietnam. Well, a drone is a drone is a drone. We're not talking about little, I just unfolded it and tossed it up in the air. We're talking stuff big enough to get shot down.
Right.
And they have managed to do that. And I think that's pretty daggum impressive. And whether they just went vertical, you come in on a drone, and here's the drone. Let me make here's the drone phone, and you put your F-35 right here. You come into a hover, and you use your jet wash at 2,000 degrees and pretty much melt it.
Right.
Okay, it works. Okay, so here's the deal. At a time and place of their choosing, Iran could have all of their surrogates in all of these places shoot missiles at Israel. The Iron Dome system is great. It's incredible. I would be very surprised if there is not an Iron Dome system within a block or two of the White House, for instance. That's how good it is. And they will overwhelm. When you talk about hundreds of missiles being launched, all coming in, it's going to be a bad day in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem, probably Tel Aviv. And then depends on what they launch. Because Iran, a nation state, has all sorts of capabilities, whether it's high explosive, chemical, biological, radiological, warheads. Nothing would surprise me. And if that's the case, Israel is a lot like the United States. A weapon of mass destruction is a weapon of mass destruction. We don't care what you use, but Israel will then have the final say and what they choose, how they choose to respond, whether they use one of their missiles or whether they launch one of their stealth F-35s or just go in there with a power sweep of nothing but F-15s and just pretty much level whatever they want to in Iran. Hey, Iraq, don't shoot at us. We're not going to bother you. Sorry. Hey. Exactly. And, they already did that, but they're ready to do it again. And the U.S. is moving ships to the Eastern Mediterranean so their anti-ballistic missile defense can be utilized as well.
And then have you seen how many ships are over there?
A bunch.
They got like 10 or 15 battleships and carriers over there. A lot.
Okay, one big carrier, 2 little carriers, what they call the helicopter assault carriers or what? Yeah, they're no. Big carrier group, Nimitz class carrier, and 2 smaller groups which have Marines and helicopters and a landing force and that sort of thing. But mostly they have they did have Harriers. Now they have F-35s, which are just incredible aircraft. So the line is, everyone's thinking this. If this happens and Israel starts shooting back to Iran, which they have heretofore not done, other than the assassination they pulled off last week, and I get Hezbollah and Hamas confused. They blew they had a team over there, hosed this guy, just absolutely wasted him. Not as dynamic, of course, as us putting a hellfire on General Soleimani's head at the Baghdad airport, which I just thought was so precious. So middle of the night, unmarked airplane, splat, splat. And that's it. One missile, one shot, one kill. Exactly the way we liked it. That's the way Barack Obama did his drone warfare, killing American citizens without due process. But people kind of forget that because he was Barack Obama, Saint Barack. I just think that the Chinese will step in. Well, why? Why would the Chinese? Well, the Russians will step in. For God's sake, Russia can't find their ass with both hands, a flashlight, a roadmap. Their military is obviously, as they keep proving, a bunch of goobers, and they haven't changed a damn thing. They have not changed a thing since the Cold War. Oh, we always did it that way, and that's the way they're still doing it, which is why they're basically losing in the Ukraine. They're losing.
Right.
Russia can't disengage, assuming that they are completely competent, assuming they're completely current, which neither of those things are true. But assuming both those things were true, they can't disengage from what they're doing to come participate in something that has got nothing to do, not a damn thing to do with them at all.
one
And
good thing I will say about the off topic on the prisoner exchange this weekend with Russia is that at least on the American side in Gitmo, at least Les Austin, at least it's good that Les Austin reversed the whole idea of them releasing those Gitmo guys and just giving them life sentences, and he put it back to the death penalty. So that's
plea
a good
deal.
thing.
They did a
And
plea
so,
deal, and the JAG, the Brigadier General JAG officer who did the deal,
yeah,
fired.
hopefully it canned,
Fired.
right? Yeah, fired good.
Do
And
people
so I
not
mean,
remember? Do people not remember 9/11?
no, they
Really?
don't. And that's the whole thing with Russia and the whole hostages that we gave to them and the whole hostage exchange, which I think was very dangerously done. And it's going to really set it up. I mean, it's basically going to put a lot more markers out there for them to, get a lot more people very easily. Well,
Well,
if they haven't done it already, I mean,
I do want to point out one thing.
they're
All
going to do it
that guy
already.
did was make a bad deal, and they axed him immediately. The Secret Service, keep bringing that up, that had multiple failures, and one
Yeah,
person was allowed to resign. They fired that guy for making kind of a bad deal.
girl general, a lady
really.
general. Okay, normally they're good shopping and finding good prices. She found the price she wanted. She wants to clear the calendar. I have no idea. There's still 30, 35 prisoners at Gitmo. The biggest problem has been what? Trying to find another country to take them.
Well,
We'd like to get rid of them. All of these guys that we just caught on the battlefield, a lot of them. I mean, we had 400, 500 guys there one time, and I'm sure it's less than 50 at this point.
are they killers
Three or
or?
four have died in custody just because people do die.
I mean, are these people like assassinated like killers or something like that? Or are they, or some of them innocents or
No,
just
they're
guys just got accidentally picked up?
they're referred to detainees. They were basically on the battlefield shooting at American troops, and we captured them. Normally, that would make them what? Prisoners of
Prisoners of
war.
war.
But only Americans can be POWs. If you're the enemy, you are an EPW, an enemy prisoner of war.
Mm.
Hey,
Somebody made Colonel on coming up with that crap. I don't know. But I'm still, and then they brought in
so
Red
bizarre.
China on this, and I'm like, what the hell does Red China have to do with this? I know they get a lot of their oil
Nothing.
from Iran. I got that part, okay, but they can't project force like that. They don't have a carrier battle group that they can send over there to help out their buddies Iran. They
No.
are many thousands of miles away from the scene of the action. And I'm still trying to figure out the vested interest that Red China has. It's not like Iran is going to be the oppressed country because they will have fired first and we'll have all sorts of radar tape to show for it. And we'll have the missiles, the Iron Dome thing shooting off. And Israel will take the first punch. That'll absorb the first punch. Okay, and unless it goes nuclear, then frankly, all bets are off. Absolutely all bets are off. Israel has north of 50 atomic weapons, basic atomic bombs, not hydrogen, although that wouldn't surprise me, but basic atomic bombs. They have them that go on rockets, and they have them that go on airplanes, and they know how to deliver them. And if you mess with Israel, this is one of those, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. And
Yep.
I don't think Iran even realizes it, and I don't think that if they shoot first and Israel takes the first shot and there is a mushroom cloud in Israel, I don't think that any Arab country is going to say, "Oh yeah, we're with Iran. Yeah, okay, we're out of here. We're going to duck. We're going to go for cover here." I don't see it. It could be World War III. The whole world has to participate. If nobody wants to be next on Israel's targeting list,
No.
we'll see. Now, what would be interesting is if a nuke would be fired from, let's say, Houthi land down in Yemen, fly all the way over Saudi Arabia, hit Israel, and they go, the missile came from where? Yemen. Okay. And, where'd the uranium come from that was in the bomb? You can analyze that. You can find pieces and you can run it through the meter and tell, where it came from. And that will narrow it down pretty good. So if it's, say, Russian or Chinese uranium, who buys that? Iran.
they can tell you which centrifuge it came out of.
Exactly.
That is very, very true. And
Very
that's
minute.
yeah. So it could be happening as we speak. It could be happening never. It could be happening day after tomorrow. We don't know.
Right.
Don't forget, from the East Coast of the United States to Tel Aviv, it's an 8-hour time difference. To Baghdad. See how I'm thinking. having been in Baghdad more than once, you just scratch your head and go, "Oh yeah." Tehran is. I think that's a 9-hour time difference. So that gives you an idea. Have a good one. We're going to wrap it up for this week. We would appreciate a like, a share, a subscription. If you love us, let us know. And if you don't, just keep your trap shut. We do the best we can for some guys giving you our basic, honest opinions of what's going on in politics. And, as Machiavelli said, war is politics by other methods. We'll see you next time on the Political Matrix News.
Okay.